here's one thing that I've seen. You have to keep putting it out there because the right person is going to see it.
Let's get started. So today,
All right.
This is Tracy Green with Weekly Fascination. I've got Byron Kennerly here. And we just met Sunday.
We did.
A comedy show. So,
we did. A new friendship.
Yeah, so I'm just getting to know you. But the thing that blew my mind is you said, I'm starting here in Tokyo and I'm going to do improv around the world.
Yeah, that's my goal. The moniker Improv Ambassador is sort of my new brand. And I've done improv for a long time, and I love travel. And I started a travel blog a few years ago, but there was always something missing. And I realized that thing that was missing was I missed performing. So I thought to blend both of the things I love, which is comedy and traveling. And so now I'm on this quest to perform an improv comedy show in every single country in the world.
How many is that going to be when you're done?
I believe 197.
197. That's if, no new borders
right.
come into play.
Well, 197 is the number I've decided on.
Okay.
Everyone can decide on their own number. There's questions as far as, Vatican City or Taiwan, for example.
That's true.
But somewhere in that range. But 197 is the number that I believe.
Good.
That
well,
I'm
hopefully
aiming for.
One of your visits doesn't start World War III or something.
No,
like that, so.
But think of the clicks. So
the ultimate clickbait.
The ultimate clickbait, World War. No, it's a mission of peace and laughs, and improv is a unifying force in people's lives, and communities are built on it. And you rarely get confrontation. It does happen, because it's human beings, but it's a very supportive art form, and I'm excited to spread it to places who haven't heard of it, and to learn how people enjoy it when they have. So,
well, I certainly enjoyed it. We were at What the Dickens on Sunday night with, let me get this right, the Pirates of Tokyo Bay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Improv group.
The Tokyo Legends.
They're amazing.
They're great.
I told you before, and I wasn't trying to brag. I used to live in California.
Yeah.
Went to the Ice House to see all these major players, and a lot of them moved out of LA now. And I met some of the other people. And what I was trying to say, and I think I kind of was clunky at making my point, is what I was trying to say is I've seen all these people who have Netflix specials, and they have a certain stage presence, and you have that too.
Yeah, wow, thank you. Yeah.
And that's why I was interested in talking to you, because on the first country of your 197 country tour, like you said,
it's Japan.
Yeah. And it's, I love talking to people while they're on the journey. Yeah,
and what something else you said was, I want to talk to you at the beginning of it, and we are at the beginning. I arrived Thursday from the United States, which is my home base and where I grew up. I've toured doing improv, in 48 states over 10 plus years. But to do it internationally is a very different vibe. But the Pirates of Tokyo Bay, I had met the leader, Mike, before, so there was a comfort level, and he knew that I wasn't just some guy, from an improv jam, which is like an open mic of improv. So to perform with them in a relatively familiar setting was really helpful, and it's just a great crew. I liked every single person that I performed with. Everyone but Mike I'd met that night, an hour before the show.
So it really is like a community building thing, because you guys look like you'd worked together for a while. Yeah,
and honestly, that's a testament to them and their cohesion. Improv usually doesn't work this way.
Oh, really?
You don't just form the dream team or whatever and let it loose. It's about rehearsing together and building chemistry together. That is a major part of it. But if you have someone who's experienced at doing improv and has done a lot of shows, I was able to join them, and it worked because of their cohesion. They already had that connection, so I wasn't a monkey wrench in the works there. I didn't disrupt what they already had. I just tried to complement what they already had, which was obviously, came through on stage.
Really good. It really did. I mean, I laughed.
Good.
I laughed. And honestly, and no disrespect to Mike or the group, I didn't expect it to be that funny.
That's good. That's a good.
Honestly, like I've gone to a couple. Well, totally bad comparison. I've gone to a couple open mic shows
Sure.
in Tokyo, a couple bringer shows in Tokyo, and it was kind of like, okay.
Were they improv shows?
No.
Stand up.
Stand up, yeah.
I mean, yeah, and that's comparing apples to oranges as well.
I think that's the mistake I make is I compare, because you're both on a stage, you're both making people laugh.
Sure, for sure.
But improv is like a different animal, right?
Yeah, stand up is prepared material. So I think there's a higher bar, because there should be, because it is prepared, and it, in theory, maybe not an open mic, but in theory, if you go see a polished stand-up act, they should have honed this over years most of the time to get to the place where they are. Improv, there's nothing planned. We're making it up on the spot based on audience suggestions. So there is a sense of that this will only happen in this room. Like the show you saw, that's never going to happen again. The games will happen again. You'll see the same performers. But that show only existed in that room, and part of why it worked was because of the audience and your response.
And that's what makes this, like, we're only going to see this performance tonight. Mm-hmm. It's only going to happen once.
Yeah.
If we come back tomorrow, you play the same game, same suggestions, it's going to be different, right?
Right. It could literally be, and we wouldn't do that. The set list would be different. But if you came in 4 months, you might see 4 of the 5 the games that we did on Sunday. But right, you could literally have the same people with the same suggestions in the same games, and it would be completely different. But obviously, we try and avoid doing that. But that's the magic of it.
Nice. And I used to play, you can see guitars around this room.
Yeah.
I used to play in bands, and there's always somebody who's like, can I sing one song with you guys? Uh-huh. And I made that mistake once.
Sure.
Once.
Yeah.
So when somebody like Mike says, okay, Byron, you're coming over to Tokyo, come join us for a show, like that really shows that, they really know their craft, and that you've really put in the work too. You could work together on the first night. And make it funny. That was
absolutely.
Special.
And he knew my history, and he knew that I'd done hundreds of shows. But it's a testament to his confidence in performing and his confidence in his group that he's put together to know that me coming in is not gonna mess everything up.
Nice. So how long have you been at this?
Theater camp, growing up, and improv was always my favorite part. Officially in high school, my senior year of high school, I started an improv team there that's still going. Basically, my biggest contribution to my alma mater.
What's the troop called?
So it was called Comedy Sports, but that is an established brand in Los Angeles of improv. So we were basically like licensing the name because they have a high school league, and so you play, the points don't matter, but you compete, quote unquote, against other teams around Los Angeles, and it's fun, and it's a way to spread it around. And then our school decided that we didn't want to pay them anymore. We hired away the person who had been kind of our coach from them, and created WIT, or the Windward Improv Team, and the name of the school is Windward. But I wasn't a part of that. I just started it when it was Comedy Sports, and then I graduated. But
sounds very witty.
Yeah, okay. It is, and it's cool. They have alumni matches. I was just back there last year and played with them. So it was very strange.
That's awesome.
Me and 17-year-olds on stage, but it's very fun, and it's very cool to have something that you started that's still going around 20 years later.
That would be like me going back to see my high school marching band.
Yeah,
I didn't start the band, but I played.
Okay, right.
Played in the band.
Right. But then it would be like them asking you to play at the football game,
I would do that. I would embarrass them and myself.
Yeah, but it would be fun.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then college, I went to Virginia Tech. I grew up in Los Angeles, but wanted to go east and see what snow looked like, which I'd never experienced.
You just go to Big Bear.
Yeah, it's not the same. That's like, but I mean, it's great. You can ski 2 hours from LA. No one knows that.
That's right.
So Virginia Tech, and I was a theater arts major, and there was an improv club that I was a part of, but it just wasn't enjoyable. We never performed, and that was a moment in my life where I didn't realize that I could just start my own thing. That if that was the improv club, okay, great. So that's the part that's the team I have to be a part of. It didn't think to me that, I'm in theater arts. I'm with a bunch of performers. I could start my own team. We have a great space here, and we could perform once a month. which in hindsight is obvious, but at the time I had trouble putting those things together. So that was sort of an off period for me, performing here and there. And then graduated college, went back to Los Angeles, where I thought I was going to be an actor and a screenwriter, and took a level 1 class at the Groundlings, which is a famous improv school in Los Angeles. And you pay a pretty hefty amount of money to take level 1, and then you pass or you fail. And so out of 17 of us, 2 people passed to level 2. I wasn't one of them. But the person who happened to be sleeping with someone who was on the main stage, who wasn't very good in my opinion, she did pass. So that was an interesting. I was like, I'm out on that, because they want you to retake level 1 and pay. You pay again. So that just wasn't for me. That wasn't my vibe. It was over in Hollywood, which was far from where I lived at the time in Santa Monica, and and then I was in like a hodgepodge team. There was like a Craigslist ad or something for it really was. It was 2006, 2007. It was the Wild West. So this was a Craigslist team. We're at this thing called Barub's, theater, which was on the second floor of a mini mall in Hollywood at Sunset, and not Vine, but around there. And it was fun, and I liked that crew. But it would just, it kind of fell apart, and the people didn't have a great connection. And then I kind of lost improv for a couple of years, and was out of it. And writing and working at restaurants. And then a friend who I went to college with emailed me and said, hey, I perform at this theater called the West Side Comedy Theater in Santa Monica, California. And Santa Monica, for LA, it's sort of the ocean town. The famous pier that was in Forrest Gump is there, and they have this 3rd Street Promenade, sort of a famous pedestrian mall that's sort of the crown jewel of the area. And in an alley just off the 3rd Street Promenade is this theater, kind of a hole in the wall. There's a big, an office and a small black box kind of space. And they offered internships in exchange for classes. And I said, okay, that sounds fun. And so I went and I interviewed with the GM, who was a guy named Lloyd Alquist, who has since gone on to YouTube fame as Epic Lloyd and the Epic Rap Battles of History. Have you seen those?
I need to look it up.
Yeah, it's billions of views, and it's really funny, good stuff. But
are these comedy rap battles or just rap battles? Okay.
They are. They're very, very funny. Nice. And they dress as the people. I think their first big one was Darth Vader rap battling against Hitler. And so that was the one that shot them up into the stratosphere. And so now they'll just take pop culture icons or politicians, and they'll have them rap against each other. They're all about 4 or 5 minutes long, and they just look great. They've got graphics. It's a great watch.
There's so much material out there.
Oh yeah. And these guys, Pete and Lloyd are just really smart and clever, and they're good rappers, which makes it work. But yeah, so I started interning, and I was sort of Lloyd's right-hand man during the day, a couple days a week. Took classes, met people, got on a house team, which is sort of like the developmental team. We perform Monday nights. Got on their marquee short form team, which is the style that you saw on Sunday, different games, which is called Mission Improbable, and performed that Friday and Saturday nights, sort of the headliners. And then auditioned and was on their touring team. So I moved to Chicago from LA, and from 2012 to 2014, I toured full time with 3 other guys. We basically were in a minivan and drove around the country and performed at colleges all over the country.
You're a brave man.
It was great. It was some of the best times of my life, and that was a great crew. Sherman, Dave, and Matt. And we just formed these incredible friendships, and that translated onto the stage, and just incredible adventures, and a ton of driving and staying in hotels, 3.5 weeks a month. But it was incredible. And then after that, your shelf life to do that life is about 2 years. And even though I was a younger man, but it's a lot. And yeah, and then I went back to LA after that. The theater offered me a job, a new position, basically operations manager, running the facility, being in charge of ordering drinks and stuff for the bar, and continued touring off and on through that, and then working at the theater and making sure everything ran, the staff and stuff. And then in 2019, I started a travel blog and called Totally Effin' Lost, which was great. But there were two problems with it. The first problem was I didn't have an elevator pitch. I didn't have a compelling reason why people should follow me and be interested in what I'm doing while I'm traveling. And because it was like, this is comedy and it's travel, so it's like going to be a fun hang and funny stuff. And I take good pictures, I make good videos, but there's no hook there. And the other problem was in 2020, I don't know if you heard about this, there was a global pandemic.
No way.
Which, yeah, really, really made the travel blog pretty exquisite timing on my part, I'd say. So instead of traveling, I was at upstate New York at my parents. My parents have a farmhouse, and I was basically grocery shopping for them so that they didn't die. And yeah, and then 2021 kind of, fits and starts to traveling. I went to Spain. I lived in Spain for 3 months briefly. But it was always, I was still missing that thing. And earlier this year, the lightning bolt hit me. And the first person I messaged was Mike of the Pirates of Tokyo Bay, because I'm like, how does language work if people don't speak the language? How do you do your show? And he said, well, it's bilingual. And then we had a conversation for about 15 minutes and kind of talked through things. And I thought, okay, I think this is doable. So I ditched Totally Effin' Lost, even though it was also hard to tell. I would have to spell it out. So follow me at Totally Effin' Lost. And then I say EFFN. Okay. And then, you know what I mean? It just wasn't Improv Ambassador. Great. You put it in and you can see it. It just wasn't, it was always a little off.
Because I would wonder, because you can say anything on this show, like I don't care what people say.
Okay, good.
You can drop F-bombs, whatever.
Okay, good.
So when you said Totally Effing Lost, I was thinking, are you just being like censoring it?
See, this is okay. we have cornered in on another of the issue. You shouldn't have questions about the brand name, of the logistics of the brand name. And also, my friend who runs social media for a big company said that people won't work with you and people won't want to advertise with you, even with EFFN, which I was shocked by. But she's like, it's just not worth it for them to someone to complain and whatever. So,
I always try, as far as this podcast, like I always I'll put the disclaimer in the middle, but also in the beginning, But my opinions expressed here don't reflect the opinions of my employer or anybody I work with, right? Of course. You always got to put that in there as the disclaimer. But when I do YouTube videos as well.
Sure.
Same name, Weekly Fascination on YouTube. And if you look in my fridge, there's like 10 bottles of iced coffee. And I got those a couple months ago, and I was going to rank them. And I thought, wait, what if I say this one tastes like shit? And then someday some bottler comes to me and says, yeah, we're going to pay you $1 million to speak for our brand, but that YouTube video you made way back.
Yeah, I think you might be overthinking that one. Here's the thing: if the shitty iced coffee wants to pay you $1 million and then doesn't because they did their due diligence, I'm pretty sure one of the other 9 are going to hit you up because you've built a following, and the way you built that following was because you ranked all 10 of them and you said one was really shitty. You have to. There is a point where you've got to get to that point before you worry about, getting to that point.
Am I ever thinking that?
Yes. And I recognize, because I have the exact same thoughts. But for what we do, and I'm doing the improv shows, but I'm also, producing content and reels and YouTube. We have to have opinions about things because that's what is interesting and that's what people come for.
That's true. And
yeah.
What's your YouTube channel?
Totally oh my God. Well, no, wait, no.
Kill that brand.
Yeah, it's dead. Improv Ambassador. Everything is Improv Ambassador, which was the other thing. I came up with the idea and then I came up with the name at like 2 a.m. as I was falling asleep. And then I, raced to name checker without an E at the end where you see if it's available and where, every platform it's available on. And it was available on every platform. So that got me really excited because that's unheard of that anything is ever available anymore. Yeah. So I locked it down and then I was up till 5 a.m. staring at the roof, just thinking of the possibilities. So, but I knew that was a good sign that I was this excited about it and that I was able to use the name. It felt different than before.
The branding, yeah.
Yeah. And even when I tell people what I'm doing in the name, their faces light up in a way that
just
they didn't
sense.
before.
Yeah. All you got to say is it's just 2 words, improv.
Oh, shit. All right. Let me,
you say it for me. I can't speak.
I'm going to change then. I'm going to go back to totally effing lost. This is a disaster. Improv Ambassador.
Thank you.
Yeah. But
I was just saying how easy it is to remember the brand.
I know, yeah.
And all you got to do is say 2 words, Improv Ambassador, and I know exactly what that is.
Exactly.
Because ambassadors go around the world and represent their country.
That's it.
Bring goodwill, and peace and love, and all that stuff.
And I'm in an elevator with someone. I say I'm Improv Ambassador, trying to perform an improv show every single country in the world. Period.
Elevator pitch. Perfect.
And now you'll get I'm going to be funny and my content's going to be entertaining just because of that.
And also it's original. I've never heard anybody say, like, there's, ultra marathon runners like, I'm going to run a marathon in every country, or
sure,
I'm going to, meet a girl in every country.
There's a TikTok guy who's going on a date with someone in all 50 states.
It can be done.
Yeah, well, that's
back to Craigslist.
Yeah, exactly. Back to Craigslist. All on Craigslist.
Where you meet all those quality relationships. Yeah.
No, yeah, it is. I don't think anyone's ever done this before. I assume we would have heard a bit of it.
They would have had the URL.
Exactly. Thank God, because it's my corner now. But
so you knew you hit on something special.
Yeah,
you got all the socials.
Yeah,
so shout that out. Improv Ambassador.
It's just Improv Ambassador on Twitter. It's 1 character too long. So there's no E at the end. It's Improv Ambassador. And then, but yeah, Facebook. Instagram is my main squeeze. That's a weird way to say it, but
I'm not judging.
Instagram is where I've had the most success. I had a viral video there, which is like over 7 million views now, which is awesome and mind-blowing.
Wait, Instagram?
Yeah.
Let's bring that up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
you mind if I play that?
Not
audio?
At all. It's so you're gonna hear. It's a very visual, unfortunately. Okay. What I did was I love Game of Thrones.
I love that series you're doing.
Oh yeah, so this was sort of the cumulation of that.
Okay.
I took a Game of Thrones clip and then below it, let's see where. There she is.
Okay. What I'll do is
Yeah. So you're hearing the soundtrack.
This is Game of Thrones?
This is Game of Thrones. So I took a scene, and then below it, I put the actual location in real life.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll screen grab this and just put it in the...
Great. Yes.
Well, actually, no. This is an audio podcast, so I can't do that.
That's... Hey.
What am I thinking?
We're you can put it in the notes.
So, yes, I will. Everybody go to Improv Ambassador, and it was August 31st where he posted this.
Right.
And this is killer.
It's the one with the dragon. Yeah. That's a key, but it's cool. So this is just something I've been doing. You saw the series where it would be a photo, that I would recreate, and that was fun because I'd recreate the scene, with characters. But this one, the first time I'd done a video one where I'm like, oh, I should do a video and mimic the camera movement. And then pair where it was. They're almost all in Spain. And it just ignited.
So you must have almost a photographic memory, because if I see something, maybe the iconic opening of, was it Full House?
Oh, okay, yeah.
People go to the Bay Area and take a picture there.
Right,
It's like,
right.
la, la,
No,
la.
definitely not. I
But-
just looked at YouTube and saw them literally seconds before I shot it. So there, I definitely don't have a photographic memory. I have a good memory. My recall is the problem. You have to kind of poke me with a stick in my brain, and then I can remember things. But yeah, no, YouTube was the great uniter. Or, I would research, and then these scenes were filmed here. I would go and watch it at home on my screen, and get it, or record it, just bare bones, and then recreate it the next day.
Nice.
So.
I should do that with anime scenes around Tokyo.
Oh, for sure.
That'd be hilarious.
People would love it.
Yeah, like, okay.
People love it.
I'm not an anime or manga person at all,
Yeah.
but I have, like, behind me I have a drawer full of, like, anime goods.
Okay.
And manga goods. What's that one? Demon Slayer?
I'm not familiar
Like,
at all.
Me either.
Yeah.
But I started selling online on Facebook groups. I started selling, like, anime stuff.
Okay.
And people are asking me, like, hey, can you get that?
Because you're here.
Because I'm here.
Yeah.
And they just assume that I know everything about anime. I'm like, hey, season 3 where he wears the red cape instead of the blue cape.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
They just send it to me.
You can send me a picture. I want to make sure I make my customers happy,
Sure.
Now, I was doing, like, I think they call it arbitrage or something, where, you get something for somebody, you send it to them.
Yeah.
And then you charge a fee on top of that for your time.
Sure.
You don't make a lot of money. It's just kind of fun because...
Yeah, but it's also... And so, Mike, there's a dog called a Kokoro, who is this fluffy Japanese... There's a... I don't know. It looked like... look up Kokoro, Japanese dog. And my girlfriend at the time and I discovered Kokoro, and we fell in love, and we would always text each other pictures of Kokoro. And so when they did a limited edition T-shirt of Kokoro, I had to get one, and there was a calendar as well. But it's there she is.
It's a poodle.
Yeah, but with like a Ewok. Like, imagine an Ewok and a poodle were like combined.
Yeah.
And that's what Kokoro is. Has passed away, unfortunately.
That's too bad.
But Kokoro's Instagram account posts like she hasn't, and still rakes it in.
Darling.
I know, right?
Absolutely darling.
I know.
Okay. Because this, I don't know what the type of poodle is, but
Yeah.
this is very popular in Japan.
Sure. Yeah.
Very popular.
Yeah, with good reason, because it's
They're
like the
darling.
cutest thing ever.
Well, the Japanese have this great relationship with dogs that goes way back. Hachiko.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
In fact, when you go to meet somebody for a date, maybe this is true in the 90s, maybe not so much anymore.
Okay.
Maybe 80s, 90s, the bubble era. If you ask somebody to meet you at Hachiko Square, it's kind of like not a test of loyalty, but it's you're saying, I will be loyal to you, I'll be truthful to you.
Wow.
Because the dog was so loyal to his owner, he waited there for 9 years
Wow.
after the
Yeah.
master had died.
And there's a statue there now.
There's a
right?
statue there now,
Yeah.
and there's statues all over the country
Yeah.
to that dog. Now, somebody did inform me after I made a video about it. Somebody did inform me, but he went to the station because people were feeding him
Oh.
the dog.
Well, sure.
So, well, of course, somebody's right. You got to feed him, right?
Yeah.
But he was, sitting there waiting in the station for 9 years after the
Wow.
master died. So that's a symbol of loyalty in the mind of Japanese
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And so if you say somebody like, okay, let's go on a date, I'll meet you at Hachiko Square. It's kind of like a pinky promise, like,
Right.
I will be there.
But what if I
will.
say, like, that's really inconvenient for me?
So I hate Hachiko.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a cat person.
Yeah. Well, then, yeah.
Let's meet in Shinjuku.
Yeah. You could say that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're big Kokoro fans, but there was a limited edition poster that you could only get here. And so Mike purchased one and very gratefully sent it to me as a gift. So, but there's cool stuff that you can only get in Japan. So
Yeah.
I love that what you're doing, but you should absolutely recreate it. And if you use the hashtags, I think that's certainly something that could go viral for your stuff.
Wow.
That's the Game of Thrones is why I have a lot of my big following.
Yeah.
Is because I did those recreations. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and it's something only you can do. And
You've just given me a killer idea because I'm
There
doing
you
stuff
go.
like, the latest one was Am I a Weeb?
Okay.
What's an otaku?
Okay,
Right.
good.
And different things like one video is who are the best YouTubers in Japan,
Oh, cool.
and that
Yeah.
was right after PewDiePie moved here,
Oh, wow.
and so there's pockets of people who know exactly who he is,
Sure.
and people who are trying to figure out from his videos where he lives.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
And I think I figured it out, but
Okay.
I'm not a dick.
Sure.
So I'm not going to post like I know where you live.
Right, right.
I'm not a
Yeah.
jerk like that. So
Yeah, blackmail is not
good.
not in.
And doxing people is just not.
Doxing and blackmail, just not the vibe. Go for the coffee
I
thing.
mean, the money's good,
Yeah, the money is good.
but the long-term career prospects
Yeah.
are pretty shitty.
But it's like I don't know. It's a cool thing. I think people connect with it because they love Game of Thrones, so they'll love anime, and then it's cool to see like, oh, this is actual spot, and then, but I was only able to. That's a real place that exists.
or recreate a scene from anime or something.
Totally,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to do Demon Slayer because it's like sword fighting,
Okay.
and he like decapitates demons or something.
Yeah,
I
that
can't-
would be tough.
I can't get away with that.
No,
Maybe-
not yet. Not till you get a budget.
That's right. But as far as like, meeting somebody at Shinjuku Station or something, like you could totally recreate that.
Yeah, and just split screen it with the frame from the
Dude.
anime, and I think people would go apeshit for that.
Dude, you've
They
given
did
me
for the Thrones.
best freaking idea.
Yeah, and again, that's something that you uniquely
Only I
can
can do,
do
yeah,
because you're here. So
Here, yeah. Anything to do with Tokyo Tower,
sure, which I went to for the first time a few days ago. It was
cool, isn't it?
Freaking awesome,
right?
I've been to many of those types of things around the world, and I thought I was pretty blown away by it. I thought it wasn't super expensive. You get a free souvenir picture at the top. You take your picture and then they put it on and you never get those for free.
No, not Disneyland. It's like,
Yeah, I've taken many a gorilla picture in the gift shop when they display it.
Yeah.
And then I'll
Oh, yeah,
sneak
yeah.
a shot and like, no, I don't think so. Not for
and
me.
those are usually bad anyways. right?
Oh, they're horrible. But it's like, I'm not going to pay the man.
No way.
But
Must exit through the gift shop.
yeah, exactly. They always dump you in the gift shop. And the view was like spectacular.
Yeah.
So I was very impressed by the Tokyo Tower experience.
Another great view is Roppongi Hills,
Oh,
the 52nd floor observatory.
okay.
If you're here for a long time, you can get a passport.
Okay.
Which in Japan, if you go to Disneyland, you
Yeah.
get a Disneyland passport.
Yeah.
If you go to one of these observatories, you get the observatory passport. and
Just
it's
where
so
you
much
can
per
go
year.
for a year,
You can
you
go
know, yeah.
anytime, yeah.
Cool.
Now, if you go one time, it's really inexpensive. 52nd floor, and you can look down at Tokyo Tower.
Oh, that's cool.
Great date spot. I mean, it's today's kind of cloudy, but
Yeah.
and Tokyo Tower gets this kind of a hue around it, like this orangish
Yeah.
hue in the fog. It's
Yeah.
really awesome.
It's cool. I'm very lucky. I can see it from my hotel room,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
awesome. When
my gosh.
when I first walked in and I opened the curtain, I posted it, but you literally hear me on my video, because I'm documenting it,
Yeah.
of course. And I go, "Wow," which is it's tough to elicit amazement
Yeah.
from me a lot,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, it's very cool. I hadn't been that before.
But it's really, really beautiful. There's a Japanese movie, black and white, filmed after World War II, and I want to say the Japanese title is San Chome no Yuhi,
Okay.
and the Japanese listeners are probably saying, "You idiot, that's not it." No, I want to say San Chome no Yuhi. It basically means like the third district sunset,
Okay.
where Tokyo Tower is, and
Yeah.
it's filmed while Tokyo Tower is being built.
Oh, cool.
And it has nothing to do with Tokyo Tower, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah.
It's about a girl who moves to Tokyo to work for a major automotive company, and it just turns out that the company she works for is in somebody's garage, but it's got the same name as a major company.
That's funny. I like
So she
that.
gets duped into coming and working
Yeah.
there, and they tell her like, "Oh, we have." A dormitory for workers, which ends up being like the back
couch?
room,
Yeah,
like
right.
the closet. Yeah. So she
Nice.
feels kind of duped, but yeah, the movie just showing the life and times of people in that time
Yeah.
when the tower's being built, and then
That's very cool.
really cool, really cool. I was in a photo studio getting a passport photo like years ago, or maybe driver's license, whatever, and they had a picture. It was a still from the movie, and the photo studio was actually in the movie.
Oh, wow.
And they said, "Hey, we were in this movie." And,
That's cool.
really cool. So
Yeah.
anybody who can find the right title, let me know.
Sure.
And, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I love this town, Japan. I've been to 46 countries, and Japan is at the top of my list. I'd been here before. I'd done shows for on Navy bases with my company. But we were doing an alcohol awareness show,
Okay.
sort of comedy and alcohol awareness and improv mixed for the Navy. So I've performed in Japan before, but I'm not counting that. It was a different vibe, and yeah. So but I love this country. I think it's great, and I'm heading to the south, to more rural parts for the rest of my adventure here before heading over to Korea for the next performance.
That was going to be one of my questions. Is what's next?
Yeah, Korea. I'm talking with the folks over at Seoul City Improv, and we haven't locked anything down yet, but I'm optimistic.
So please, or just post it on Instagram, because I have friends
I will, yeah.
in Korea.
Yeah, I'll post. I'll post it.
I'm sure you will. Right?
Believe me.
Don't leave that on the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I have friends in Korea, and I also have friends all over the Asia because of work and stuff. So
Yeah.
whenever you post something, I'll make sure and forward that to
Fantastic.
them. Maybe get one or two people to one of your
That'd
shows.
be great. That'd be great. And yeah, and another important part of doing the show with Mike is that he and the Pirates have just a great reputation, and the improv community in Asia, even though it's such a big area, is very small because it's not, super widespread. So everyone kind of knows each other. So me being on his stage and him vouching for me has been extremely helpful as far as, proving my credibility as far as, not being just a random dude. But yeah, I'm really excited. I've never been to Korea before. But I want to explore other parts of Japan before I leave because I don't know when I'll be back, and I love it so much.
196 more to go. So
I know, yeah, it's a lot. And my mom has expressed concern about some of the more disreputable places, and I said, well, let me do the easy ones first, and places that I can go, and two, maybe have improv, and then once I clear those. It's going to take a long time to just do those. So let's start there. We'll start easy with a friend in Japan, and there's a great improv scene in Korea and Singapore and the Philippines. So let's do that, and then we'll cross the dangerous bridge when we get to it.
when you get to Australia, or before you get to Australia, let
Yeah.
me know. I have a
Sure.
lot of contacts in Australia as well.
Absolutely.
And Europe. When you get to around Denmark, Scandinavia, let me
Yeah.
know. I have family in Denmark.
Great. There's a big improv community in
Is
Denmark.
there?
Yeah. Almost every European country has some sort of improv team or theater, which is very cool. But and that would have been the easiest place to start. But for my travels up until now for the past 2 years, I've basically been in Europe the whole time. Was in Turkey briefly and Australia, but I really wanted to change it up, and I also wanted to challenge myself, which coming to Asia is more of a challenge than Europe. But I want, and I'm also kicking myself that I didn't think of this when I was traveling all around Europe, because I could have
40 countries.
could have knocked. Yeah, I think it's like 46 that I really could have done some damage in an improv sense. But yeah, I was in Ukraine in late 2021.
Whoa. What month?
September.
So just before the buildup on
Yeah.
the border, right?
It
Crimea.
was 5 months before it happened, and there was no signal. There was the stalemate in the east, but that had been happening since 2014, and there was no sense of it. No sense of it.
Wow.
And it was great. I went to Kyiv. There was actually an American congressman there who was like at the same church that we were touring.
That?
Yeah, an American congressman, and he was walking around. I think he had an hour off or something, and was touring with a handler. Not a handler, but a guide. Handler's a negative word.
It's got a negative connotation.
Yeah, no, they weren't like, it wasn't like that. And so he heard my brother and I talking. He's like, "Oh, where are you from?" We're like, "Oh, we're from LA." He's like, "Oh, I'm from San Diego." you know, and we're like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm a U.S. congressman, and I just met with the, you know, I think the president of their legislature before lunch, and we had a little break, and I said, oh yeah, we're meeting with him after lunch. Which was not true. It was a joke. Yeah, so they were there talking about assistance of some sort. But obviously things ramped up shortly after that. But it was great. I went to the countryside. I spent a week with a family in a rural Carpathian village, and it was really a moving experience. That's actually on my YouTube. As well, sort of a 20-minute video documenting that. So if you're interested in Ukraine shortly before the war, you can see that. And I think it's a nice little time capsule because everything's changed now.
I love time capsules.
Yeah.
Like there's a, you know, in Japan, the years, they have the Western years, you know, like 1980, 1990, 2022, whatever. They also have the Japanese years. So now we're in the Reiwa era.
Okay.
And when the emperor changes, so the previous emperor, what do they say, abdicated the throne?
Okay,
left it to his son, and then they changed the name of
fairly recently, wasn't it? Yeah.
So it's called Reiwa now. Before that, it was Heisei. Before that was Showa. And so I was born, I'm a Showa kid.
Okay.
Anyway, so Showa is like, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. It went on for like 64 years.
Oh, so I am too.
Yeah, so you'd be a Showa.
84.
Okay. You'd be a Showa kid too.
Showa kid.
So there's an Instagram account called Showa Photography. And they show pictures of Japan from the 80s.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's so cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, what I do is I take pictures of Tokyo now. Mm-hmm. Because in 20 years, I can go back to the same places and take a picture and everything's going to be different. Like, you can see kind of over by Tokyo Tower, there's a huge tower going up. An office building.
Yes.
Massive.
Yeah.
I've heard different things, and I haven't looked into it, but I heard it's going to be the tallest building in Japan and maybe the tallest building in Asia.
Wow. And it's the one directly across from the tower.
Yeah.
Like, you can see if you're in Tokyo, you can see the reflection of it in it.
Yeah.
And there was cranes and things. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's fascinating.
Massive. And it goes from like, so in Japan, they don't really have blocks. Like we do in the States, right?
Yeah, right.
They have like big areas and sometimes streets go in them and out of them, whatever. But this goes from one side of a massive block to the other side. So you can go on two parallel streets and the building is between them. Yeah,
this is not
like a 20-acre development.
This is not at like Tokyo Tower or the Space Needle or something.
No.
This is a thick rectangle of a building. This is like a solid building. So the fact that it's going to be that tall, it kind of like blows my mind.
Massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
That's
I don't know what's going on in Japan, but you know, Roppongi Hills, Hibiya Midtown, Roppongi Midtown, all these massive developments going on.
They're building everywhere.
Everywhere. And then this huge thing, it's near the Kamiyacho area. I don't know what it's called yet, but it's massive. And with the economy the way it is, Japan has stagnated for, 25, 30 years? I don't know where all the money comes from.
That was my question, too. I was like, because Japan, at least for me, seems a lot cheaper than it was when I was here back in 2017.
Well, there's almost no inflation.
Yeah.
In wages either.
Yeah.
I've told the story when I first came in 1990 and I was looking for a job teaching English. They were paying 300,000 yen a month. Mm-hmm. Stayed here for a while, went back to the States, went to law school, came back again a couple times, but I moved back in 2014. Picked up the Japan Times, English newspaper. And there was a job teaching English for 300,000 yen a month.
Yikes.
That was 24 years of no wage increases.
Wow.
In that particular job. I mean, other people might have...
Sure, but that's also a big problem in the United States, in my opinion. Others would disagree, but the living wage is very low for entry-level jobs in the United States, and it's creating a whole further separations.
When we have the gig economy and stuff, and
right.
I work for a great corporation and used to work for a firm as an attorney. And but I've gone on to gig websites to get work to do. And, I'm a lawyer. I speak, Japanese, read Japanese. I went online, got a translation gig, and it was only one page.
Yeah.
And, but with the time zones, they wanted it done within like an hour or something.
Wow.
And we're going to pay this much. It ended up, and then they wrote back later and said, oh, you know what? We realize you're in Japan, so if you can give it back to us within 24 hours, no problem.
Right.
So I stayed up all night long and finished this translation, and then several iterations back and forth. And after about 8 hours, it's like, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like half dead. They finally get back and say, hey, great, we approved the translation, send us an invoice. It ended up being like $20.
Oh, my God.
Because they pay per word. I was like, dude, I just worked.
That's ridiculous.
I was too tired to figure out how bad I got ripped off.
Sure.
It was pretty bad.
That sucks.
But that's the gig economy. And, and sure, maybe there are jobs where you get paid a nice, fee for one gig.
Right.
But I'm not a fan of the gig economy.
Yeah. Well, especially if it takes advantage of people who are desperate and
Well, and then also you get, and we'll bring this back up, but
okay,
since we're here.
Yeah, sure. Let's dig in.
Also, you end up, so as a person who is, bilingual, whatever, you're also going up against somebody in another country where the cost of living is a fraction of what I have here.
Sure.
So for them, $20 is a lot of freaking money.
Yeah.
For me, $20 is like lunch.
Right.
Lunch is more like $10 here, but like,
yeah, right.
It's really not worth, staying up all night. I'd get some sleep,
Absolutely not.
But bringing it back up, you've been doing this 12 years.
Sure.
Based in LA, you're going to travel around the world.
That's right.
Next is Korea.
Yeah. And then people say, oh, so have you planned it out? What's the path? And I said, the path is the next closest place. I am not I am not independently wealthy. So I'm trying to do this as cheaply as possible, at least at the beginning, until the big iced coffee sponsorships roll in.
I see what you did there.
But
in comedy, that's called a callback.
Yeah, that's right, and it is a strong weapon in improv.
It's really good, yeah.
My goal now and my job now is to do the improv shows, and then also to document my travels and put out content that I think people will enjoy, and continue building an audience. And I think that will lead to being able to make money doing this. I've also developed a customized improv workshop that I can teach companies or embassies abroad that build teamwork and camaraderie and are really fun. And I've also made it so that the first hour of that workshop can be taught if people don't speak English, which I think is another unique thing that I've never seen out there before. So that's something that I'm going to start pushing and offering to people, trying to get a few shows under my belt first and get a little momentum. But sure. It feels like it's all in front of me.
Because that would be the question, is like, how are you funding this then?
Yeah, at the moment, I've saved up money from touring. Last August was the heavy touring season back in the States because all the colleges are coming back to campus. So we had a long period where we just tour, show. And then I do some social media managing as well for a couple people back in the States. So between those things, I'm basically cost neutral, with a little loss, I'd say. Probably I'll know more in a month after I've been doing this. Easy to do the spreadsheet when you're back in LA. Yeah. But now that I'm out here, buying every meal and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, I have no problem staying in hostels, and even though at my ripe age of 38, the top bunk is a little difficult sometimes. But that's what I'm doing now. So I'm just trying to extend my runway as long as I can and stay relatively cost neutral or slightly less. And then hopefully I can build enough of an audience where I can start making money on this or teaching the workshops and doing that.
Nice. Well, it's when you show this commitment that you're doing this. You're really grinding.
Yeah.
You're starting this really grinding experience here. I think that commitment, people will see that commitment.
I mean, I'm here.
This
this
is a guy who like actually puts in the work.
Yeah, I'm trying to, and for me, it's really tough. A thing I've struggled with is I love getting the content and filming stuff, but it's really hard for me when I'm traveling to take a day off in a place where I'm paying to stay, and I'm only here for a few days, and I want to get as much from the place that I can. For me to sit down, like, no, process what you just shot the past 3 days and make that good and put it in a place where you can put it out, because otherwise it just backs up and backs up, and then I look at it and I have 3 weeks of stuff that I've shot and it's completely overwhelming. So that's a balance that I've really struggled with before, and I'm very consciously trying to work on this time around, because it's not going to work if I can't consistently put things out. So
yeah, consistency is really key, right?
But it's good. I'm going to Hakone for the next 3 nights, starting Thursday.
Nice.
And one of those days will be, going on the stupid pirate ship and the rope cable and whatnot. And then the other 2 days are going to be editing the stuff that I've done here in Japan.
Hakone's great though, and
yeah.
Japan. Okay, so the cityscape, Tokyo Tower, all that stuff. And I prefer Tokyo Tower over Skytree.
A lot of people, that's what people said.
It's got that, once again, the warm orange glow. It's just so
it's cool.
Friendly.
Yeah.
It's
iconic, like the Skytree. I feel. Yeah.
And the Skytree's more new, more kind of corporate. So Japan as a city. So sorry, when I say Japan, a lot of times I mean Tokyo.
Sure, yeah, I got your gist.
Tokyo's very photogenic. The skyline, and then you'll find like these old wooden houses between skyscrapers and stuff.
Yeah,
it's so photogenic.
The Golden Guy.
Yeah. The people are so interesting. Kabukicho. That was on the show the other night, right? Kabukicho. Like, what's that?
Yeah.
And then you get to the country. You find these beautiful temples and the mist coming over the trees in the morning. It's just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so photogenic as a country.
Yeah, and I love that. Obviously, as someone who's, Instagram heavy and making YouTubes. But, right, so I've been, last time I went to Kyoto, I was here, and then we were in the, Navy towns in the north and then just to the south. And yeah, the Navy towns are a little rough.
They're interesting, yeah. Like, did you go to Yokosuka?
Yeah.
I think they call it Yokusuka.
Yeah, and Yokohama, is that? And then Atsugi.
Okay.
And then a place in the far north, but just before you get to Hokkaido. Misawa?
Misawa?
Yeah.
Maybe? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're catering, the towns are catering to their large American population, and that sucks. So, I get it. It's economics. And, obviously it's strategically important to have us here.
Sure.
But from a cultural standpoint, those cities are tough.
Yeah, I like going to places where they're not used to seeing foreigners.
For sure.
Because if you go, like, right off the base, the people there don't speak Japanese, they don't speak English, they speak, like, Japanglish.
Right.
How are you, ne?
Yeah, like they're to sell.
Yeah, exactly. And that's cool, but I want to have like a complete immersive Japanese experience.
Yeah. So Hakone is, I'm doing that, which is probably a mix of like tourist and...
Oh, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah. And then I'm going to Magume, a small postal town. There's all these postal towns between Tokyo and Kyoto back in the day, was the road. And so it's just this small little village that has been preserved from that era. And there's another one, and they're 2 hours walk, and there's a hike in between them that you can do. So I'm doing that, and then Takayama and Shirakawa. I wasn't able to get into the countryside, see these small places. So that's going to be the focus of the next half of my trip.
You go to Osaka?
Possibly.
Okay.
I would like to do that because I was in Kyoto when I was here last time. I'd like to see Osaka. It will depend on Korea and scheduling, but
you could redo a Black Rain.
Scene or something. Sure, absolutely.
You can get a truck to chase you or something.
yeah, I'm sure I could figure it out. But yeah, so I don't know. I love this country.
Me too. I've been here gosh, 18 years total. Plan to retire and die here.
Fantastic.
In that succession, in that order.
Yeah, you could do much worse.
In the but I hope that's like a long time from now.
No, yeah, I wasn't wishing death upon you, but
were you leaving tomorrow? What do you care?
Yeah, exactly. We got just post the podcast before you do.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. See, that's the thing for me too. Is I just did a YouTube video that'll be released. It's about otaku, and we're doing this podcast today. And this requires very little post. So I'll go through and take out the like sipping water and the ums and the stuff like that.
Sure.
But other than that, it's really easy.
Yeah.
The equipment I use is just
I do a podcast as well.
What's your podcast?
You never guess. It's called Improv Ambassador.
No way.
Yeah, it is. And so my friend Landon, who is back in LA, I report in once a week, and we kind of go over. We just go over my travels and review what I've done. Not really competition of this. This you've gotten the whole spectrum, and on ours we've already talked about my mission and stuff. But so it's a really fun talk about time capsules, right? This is a great way to preserve my travels and to go back and remember what I did, because in the Instagram stories, I mean, it's very ephemeral and silly and whatever, but I have that for all my travels. I can go back in the Instagram stories and have a record of pretty much what I've done, or at least the cool things I've done every day, and then the podcast where I've talked about my experiences. Yeah. So I think these things we're building are invaluable.
Yeah. Well, the Instagram, you're really good at Instagram.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean I think your icon picture, they call it for Instagram.
Yeah.
You with the airplane flying over and in your logo.
Thank you.
Improv Ambassador. That's really good.
Thank you.
And then just your Game of Thrones series.
Freaking,
blew my mind. I was just watching reel after reel this morning.
Sure.
So before I interview somebody, I try to learn a little bit about them.
Sure.
And but no, that's something you've really got down.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the airport thing was awesome. My buddy Matt Block, who's an improviser and photographer in LA, I said, hey, you want to come out to LAX with me? And LAX is, I mean, it's the worst airport in the world. Don't get me wrong. It sucks. But there's a park, and there's an In-N-Out burger, and right there is right where on the north runway, the planes just come in right over your head.
So that's not Photoshop.
Oh, no, that's real. Those planes are real.
Whoa.
I know. How cool is that, right?
That just makes it that much better, because you got to sit there and get it. The light's got to be right.
Yeah, we touched the sky up a little bit.
Okay.
But the planes are real. That's me. I brought my suitcase out there, and
I'm so used to everything being Photoshopped.
Oh, I know. Yeah. No. If it was Photoshopped, I would have put the planes in better positions for my graphic, sense. But
I thought it was great.
Yeah, and then the logo. My friend Mary Doodles, who is a YouTuber and has a great audience. She does time lapses of her art, and then you can buy it. It's amazing. But she did that logo for me, which I think really gives a legitimacy to what I'm doing. Yeah. It's like
it's very professional.
I think that looks fantastic. So these are the little things that have come together in the past month that have just made me really believe and get excited about it. It sounds stupid, like a photo shoot or a logo, but I'm very proud of both of those things. And
it's those things when things come together, like those serendipities,
Yeah, it's good.
Once again, when I heard you're going to go around and do, improv in 197 countries, I'm like, this guy's probably leaving tomorrow, but I'm still going to ask him. I was going to go up and talk to you, and it's funny because I do YouTube, I do a show.
Yeah.
But I'm shy.
Oh, no.
And I'm sure that's like a cliche, right?
No, I'm the same way.
Right?
I'm very bad at talking to strangers and introducing myself.
And so
on stage, I'm the complete opposite of that. But
I've played. So I play lead guitar in a rock band. We played a bunch of Van Halen stuff, right?
Sure.
And I'm out there jamming.
Yeah.
I'm doing the finger tapping and the wild acrobatic, pyrotechnic licks and stuff. And I get off stage and people are like, hey, really good. I was like, oh, thanks. And I'm thinking of the one thing I screwed up. One part I missed. Okay, yeah, thanks. Oh, they're just being nice.
Yeah.
But, and, a little self-critical, but also, kind of shy.
Sure.
And so I thought, okay, how can I talk to I'll just ask him.
No, I love
And then
that.
you could say no, or you could say yes.
No,
like,
and
it's up to
yeah,
you.
and I'm a bit shy too, which surprises people. So I would love that you came up and talked to me, because that's, I'm very resident to do that. So,
Yeah.
which is something I need to change, but I'm working on it.
After 197 countries, you'll be able to do it in
Exactly,
10
yeah.
different languages.
That's right. That's right. I don't know. I have my ex is from Argentina, and I tried to learn Spanish while we were together, and
Yeah.
it was really very no bueno.
Didn't happen. No bueno.
Yeah, muy mal.
Well, you guys did great the other night with so I was the one who shouted out Shotgun Wedding
Oh, great.
when
yeah.
you're asking for topics, and I said,
Yeah.
"Chata cake on," and that was too long. Right?
Yeah, it had to
Too
be short. So
difficult.
let me explain. So we
Yeah.
played a game, and it was me and Gabe, who is
Yeah.
from the Philippines.
And he's hilarious.
Oh my God, Gabe! Like, I'd never met him before, but talk about an improv rock star. I'm just looking at him with my mouth open, like, this guy is unbelievable. So the game was, in order to utilize our lack of Japanese knowledge, because everyone else in the cast is bilingual. They trotted us out there, and then they got 2 phrases for each of us, and they didn't tell us what they meant. It was Japanese phrases, and then at any point in the show, we said the phrases, and then we were with a third person who was bilingual who did the whole scene in Japanese.
And you could only use those 2 lines.
So only use those 2 lines. We couldn't use English. We couldn't say anything in English. Our entire characters were just those 2 lines.
So yours were yamete, which is stop it,
Yamate.
and
It was like
forget the
me. Oh God, I mean, yeah. See, memory.
But it was so funny because
It was like, I don't like it or something.
yeah. Because I remember, and who was the third guy? That
Gabe.
Gabe.
Oh, and then Bill.
Bill.
Who like he's an American, but he speaks
very
very
good.
fluent
Very
Japanese,
fluent, yeah.
and just a character.
And really funny. And so he was teeing you guys up to make it funny when you would say stop it.
Yeah,
Or when Gabe would say shotgun wedding.
yeah.
And it was really good. And
Yeah.
that kind of skill, like to be able to think on your feet like that, holy cow, dude.
Well, that one was easy. I just had 2 lines, so there wasn't
true.
much to it.
But it was funny because you nailed the inflection and the timing, of course. You got that down.
Well, we didn't know that we didn't know the timing because we didn't know what he was saying.
But you didn't know what it meant, and then, but whatever it was, there was something that worked.
We said it like we spoke Japanese.
Exact. That's it.
It was confidence.
Yes.
And that's what made it funny, was that for me, I'm like, and I'd never played that game before. This is a unique situation where you can play it,
Yeah.
But it was, I'm going to speak this like I absolutely know what it means.
I'm gonna own it.
Totally with total conviction.
Wow.
Yeah. Like we play a guessing game, and where we get a bunch of suggestions from the audience, someone leaves the room, and then the person comes back, and you have to guess what those things are, but your teammates only can give you gibberish and pantomime. So it's very tough to guess the things.
That's like having kids.
Exactly, yeah. But when you guess like you're 100% right, even though for a lot of them on the first try, you're completely wrong.
Okay.
But what's funny is that I think I'm right. And so I for that game, I'm like, I'm going to play that game like that. I speak these 2 lines of Japanese, and I speak Japanese. That's how I approach. So I'm glad it came across.
It did, yeah.
Good.
Because you came across with conviction. Like,
Yeah.
Yamete.
Yamate.
Yeah, stop it. Wow. So I'm sure this is way down the road, but after 197 countries, what do you think you're going to do?
Oh, man. I have no idea.
Okay.
I literally haven't. I barely thought of Korea and countries. Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong are sort of in my my galaxy for the next month or so. I literally have no idea. I still honestly don't know if it's possible. But because if I think about after 197, that makes me think of the road to make that possible. And if I think about that, I'll give up because it seems impossible.
And then exactly. So I have analysis paralysis. That's why I have 10 types of iced coffee in my fridge, because I'm still worried about, getting sponsorships in 10 years. So You're smart to not overthink
Get the
it.
clicks, the clicks, and not like, you're not. That's not outrageous. You're not making fun of someone's haircut on the street.
That's true.
Like, I hate that shit.
Okay.
Like, that's clickbait. But like,
that's true.
this is fun. It's so stupid. We're having this conversation about it. Just
But that's
review
'cause I
them.
overthink
It'll
shit.
be
That's-
a good content. And
Yeah.
who gives a shit about the sponsorships?
Yeah.
They're like,
I just overthink stuff.
yeah, that, like, if you don't like it, then they'll sponsor you and be like, hey, like, help us make it better. I don't know. But here's one thing that I've seen. And this goes for, it goes for politics, it goes for acting, it goes for anything where you want to have success, and especially in the venue that we're in, where we are putting ourselves out there. You have to keep putting yourself out there. And it's for shy people, even though people might not assume that, that's hard. But you have to if you believe in what you're doing, and I believe in what you're doing, I think you do too.
Yeah.
You have to keep putting it out there, because the right person is gonna see it.
Yeah.
And for whatever that next thing is, the person you are looking for that's gonna offer you something or create that next opportunity. And that person is just going around. They want to see what they are looking for, what they are trying to find. And so our job is to keep putting ourselves out there. And so at some point, the right pair of eyeballs will see it.
And to be authentic, because if I try to be somebody else, I've told a lot of people, like, who my favorite podcasters are, and I won't go through that again, but I have some favorite podcasters that I kind of model myself after.
Yeah.
But I also try to make it unique and not overthink it. I just try to be myself,
Which is why it's unique.
Yeah. And then, exactly. And then so if I come across as a certain type of person because I'm trying to model myself after this, person that I'm, obsessed with or something, and then people fall in love with that, and then they find out I'm not like that.
Oh yeah, right.
They're gonna hate me.
Sure.
So I make a lot of analogies between dating and business and dating and entertainment and stuff. If I am my authentic self on the first date, then she might not like me, but that's okay.
But if you're looking for more than a one night stand or something, you're gonna have to show eventually. So it might as well be on the first date.
Exactly. So if I'm my authentic self, the third date, the fourth date, dating, moving in, getting married, whatever. There's no weird disappointment along the way. Like, oh, I thought you were nicer than this. You're kind of a dick.
Right.
Or oh yeah, he's always been kind of a dick. So that's just him. But there's no letdown. Yeah. Because I haven't portrayed myself as somebody I'm not.
For sure. And that's and honesty is a big thing with me too. And if I'm honest with people, then I never have to think that the other foot's going to come stamping down because I've been hiding something. So I've definitely tried to live my life that way. Because it gives you anxiety to worry about getting caught or whatever, so.
You sound like a person like me who's been through this because it takes a lot of energy. Yeah. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of memory space. It's like, what did I tell that person? What did I tell that person?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so exhausting.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
I'm too old to try to remember everything.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, I can't remember. We've talked about it. My memory issue. It's like I only got limited space up there.
And wait, who are you and how'd you get in here?
Yeah, exactly. But and I think I'm, unlike the new iPhones, I don't think my memory storage is going up.
It's not going up. Yeah.
So I have no room for unauthentic words.
But it just seems like sometimes as human beings and as men, sometimes we have to go through that to realize I don't want to live like that.
Sure.
I want to be the authentic me because first of all, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
And second of all, I can go home and look at myself in the mirror.
Right.
Instead of thinking I was not myself. At that party, I was trying to be too funny or I was trying to be too formal. It's right. And then I don't have to replay the evening,
Yeah, exactly.
But if I hadn't gone through that, then it wouldn't be so relaxing to be me now.
Right. Right.
So whatever.
Well, yeah, it's all a journey, and we're always learning about ourselves as we go along it. Yeah.
So what I'd love to do is maybe along this journey, if we could do a Zoom call or something.
Sure.
And do maybe 30-minute.
Yeah.
Tell me what you've been up to, and then at the end, I don't know when I'll ever end up in LA again,
Okay.
but you never know.
Yeah.
I have family in LA, so
Yeah.
but you never know. I'd love to do like another in-person podcast, but
Great.
I think the next one maybe do like a Zoom or something.
Sure.
20, 30 minutes. What you been up to?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Let me get a few more countries under my belt, and I would love to check in.
Let's play that by ear. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the plan is to go south, like a bird for winter. But
I don't blame you.
but no, man, just today. So there's a Facebook Asia improv group.
Oh, nice.
And so it's about 350 people, and I posted in there what I'm doing. And so people have been reaching out, someone from Nepal, people from Hong Kong, and a couple people are really selling me on Thailand in December, which I, at my computer nodding as I'm reading it. So I think that's my goal. I think if I hit Singapore, which has a great improv scene, by the way, I'm going to have to make a decision about, do I head west or do I head south? Do I go the Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand route, or do I head west and do Southeast Asia, India, Nepal, things like that? So I think that might be a key moment to check back in.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll have done 4 or 5 countries.
That'd be great.
Since then. I can't give you a time frame on that.
No. We'll just go back and forth on
Cool.
Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just keep it open and play it by ear.
Yeah.
When you get, or before you go to the Philippines, let me know, because I have friends there as well.
Great.
And
Yeah, that's in the I think that's in the pipeline probably after Hong Kong.
Philippines is great. Have you been to the Philippines?
I have not.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the people are so beautiful and so nice.
Yeah.
So sweet.
And but Gabe, who was the fellow guest in the show, is basically like the godfather of Philippines improv.
Oh yeah, he was showing me pictures on his Instagram. He was like the face of some like yogurt company or something.
Sure.
Like he's
I mean,
he's well known.
Who could blame them? I mean, he's such an expressive performer.
Yeah, he is.
So
yeah, I forgot about Gabe. Yeah. But I have friends in the Philippines who are more like in the martial arts community.
Fantastic.
But there's crossover between martial arts and comedy as well.
Oh, for sure, especially improv. You gotta think on your feet,
or on your back,
or you'll be on your back. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right, yeah. So a lot of guys. Eddie Bravo.
Okay, yeah.
Jiu-jitsu teacher.
Yeah,
he owns several schools. He's doing stand-up now.
Cool.
And there's a couple others. The names are just escaping me right now.
Right.
But, Brandon Schaub, I want to say, was a fighter.
Okay.
And now he's doing stand-up.
Okay.
Of course, Joe Rogan, comedian and martial artist. And, a lot of people. There's kind of a crossover there.
Cool.
And also, it's a great, like, release valve.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're dealing in a world that's really intense, and if you can laugh, it's like it's like a vacation. It's like anything else. Like, what I love about comedy and any kind of comedy is it's that release valve. You can have a stressful week, and then on Friday night you go to the show and laugh your ass off and forget about everything. Yeah,
it is. It is
people
great.
a vacation for 2 hours.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's
a beautiful thing, man.
It's great. I love it. I love that it's a part of my life, and I'm excited to show it to the world.
That's the perfect way to end. Thank you, Byron Kennerly.
Thank you for having me.
One more time, shout out your socials.
Yeah, at Improv Ambassador, everywhere except for Twitter, which has no E at the end. But it's Twitter. It's boring anyway.
We'll ask Elon to fix that.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.